Welcome to Vermontitude, a collaborative effort between Great Eastern Radio, the Brattleboro Reformer, and BCTV to bring you the stories behind the stories on the topics you want to learn more about. Because there's always more, so there'll always be Vermontitude. Hosted by me, Peter Fish Case. Welcome to Vermontitude. New episodes drop every Tuesday and can be found by going to vermontitude.com, reformer.com, or BCTV. They are recorded at the River Garden Marketplace Studio in downtown Brattleboro in collaboration with Great Eastern Radio, the Brattleboro Reformer, and BCTV. I'm Peter Fish Case. Each week, I try to cover topics that are of concern to Windham County and the towns that reside within them. Joining the program today, we have Patrick Moreland, and we have Ian, our Selectboard chair. Goodnow, sorry.
No worries.
All right. Let's get into it. There's been this report. This is not even half. Can I see yours for a second,
Sure.
Patrick, if we could? Patrick brought a clipboard, which means he's in charge.
Yep.
So this whole thing, 117 pages of the whole AP Triton report, which breaks down, it's a feasibility study to determine whether Brattleboro can operate its own EMS services or we revert back to rescue. But what I was finding as I was leafing through it, I'm going to be completely honest, 117 pages is a lot. All right. It's a lot for me. It's a lot for a lot of people. And there was just more of an assessment there. I think I went a lot deeper than I originally expected, and into how our fire department operates. Patrick, if you could speak to that a little bit, like was this how this thing was designed to roll out?
Yeah. First of all, good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
I think this particular report is structured in the way in which we anticipated. It is, as you say, really in depth. Right? It's 117, I think, pages, as you say. It covers a wide range of topics, but the first probably 60 pages or so is an in-depth evaluation of the capabilities of the Brattleboro Fire Department. So looking at the staff, looking at their training, looking at their vehicles, looking at their facilities, and assessing, in what status are they. And then, it kind of moves on and starts to examine a variety of different EMS options that the town could pursue. And then it provides a framework for determining, are there any differences here in level of service? Are there differences in the cost of service? Because, we've got to provide cost-effective services to the community.
Right.
So there's a lot of detail there, but I think it's a serious topic. And I think, the board and the community deserve a serious evaluation.
All right. I mean, how do you now? I know, and full disclosure, I know that everybody has kind of skimmed through this thing. Yeah. There was a whole presentation given at the last at the last Selectboard meeting. Give us a kind of, if you could, can you break this thing down into 60 seconds? What are we doing?
Can I break down this 117-page document in 60 seconds?
I think it's fair.
Yeah,
I think it's fair. You got a suit and tie on.
Yeah,
you can do
fair
it.
enough. Yeah,
right.
That's why I wear it. So as Patrick said, it's a evaluation of the Brattleboro Fire Department, and then it's a breakdown of sort of a study into feasibility of essentially 4 models for Brattleboro to consider for providing EMS services to our residents.
Right.
Those models are, a private ambulance service, a hybrid service, and then 2 hybrid service, meaning partially municipal, partially private, and then 2 sort of structures where it's fully municipal, but with different levels of staffing and number of people on 24/7 and things like that.
Right.
So, and then I think a large portion of and I'm over the 60 seconds already.
No, you're fine.
But a large portion of the discussion around the feasibility study that happened on Tuesday night at the select board meeting was a discussion around the question that's got to be kind of put to our community and to the board, which is like, what is our expectation for level of service and response times, and what do we want out of any EMS service that we provide?
Right.
So be it one of those 4 options, or as Rich Buchanan from AP Triton spoke to, you could have 50 iterations of one of those 4 if you were to mix them and sort of get exactly the right fit for Brattleboro. Doesn't matter which one you pick. we've got to first start with what are the expectations of the system.
Right.
Once we've established that, then we can formulate exactly the right option for us.
Okay. So I think it's fair, but when I look through, and again, like I was trying to leaf through this and going through and page after page after page about how the fire department operates, which I wasn't expecting. I was literally, honestly, truthfully not understanding completely what this whole feasibility study was going to be about. I really just thought it was just going to take a hard look at it. So I just kept skipping ahead until I found the options. All right. So, but it looks to me like we have options to go either way and that we're safe no matter what we choose. Is that a safe, like if I'm breaking this thing down into 10 words, is that safe?
Well, I think, I don't know if I quite would agree with that.
Okay.
But I think what I would say is what we heard on Tuesday night and what you can glean from the study is that level of service and the quality of the service is going to be good for whatever option.
Well, yeah, I guess that's more or less what I.
Okay. So,
right, yeah.
Sorry. So I do agree. And what's great about that is it's good in the sense that we're going to be able to provide a good service no matter what.
Right.
And that's great. It's difficult because it makes the community and the board's decision a lot harder. Because
Right.
I think if there was one that just was like, this is going to provide a much better service for the residents and of Brattleboro, then we would go with that.
Right.
Because that's the most important thing is we got to provide the best possible level of service. The fact that all four of them are going to be able to potentially do that, it means that now we've got to start taking a deeper dive into the financial and the staffing and all the other questions that come
Right.
with each of the options.
Yeah, some of the things that have come across my conversations are the amount that taxes will be raised if we pull this whole thing in under a municipal umbrella. Patrick, is that a true or a false statement, or do we not really know at this point?
Well, I think there's a chart that's presented towards the end of the report, and it does provide what AP Triton will say is a reasonable estimate for additional costs that the town is going to incur, additional revenues that the town is likely to receive, and then the net impact to the general fund. I think in taking a look at each of those options and the net impact to the general fund, you need to keep in mind that prior to let's say June 30th of this year, there was approximately $285,000 impact to the general fund. So in some ways, when, for example, option 2 says there's going to be a $91,000 impact to the general fund, you compare that to, what we had been spending, which is about $285,000. And then you make a determination. Is that a motivating factor or not? What I will say in the time that I've spent with the Brattleboro Selectboard and in the conversations I've had with them individually and with the fire department and with the fire department's leadership, the focus is really around transparency and quality of service. So,
Right.
Is there going to be a net impact, and is there going to be additional costs beyond what we used to spend, or is there going to be slightly less? I think it looks like from my read of the chart, it's about 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So
Okay.
The question is, do we bring this service in-house, or do we continue to work with an outside entity, an
Okay.
outside partner?
And that outside entity would be rescue in this case?
Rescue is certainly an option.
It's an option. Okay. Ian, let me direct this question to you now. I think the court of public opinion is always, you're a lawyer, it's not a court you'd want to probably fight your battle in, because it can be somewhat brutal. Will the constituency of Brattleboro, will they get to weigh in on this decision? Is that a fair question?
I think it's a fair question, and I think the answer is no matter what. Absolutely. If we were to give them the opportunity to or not, they're
Right,
absolutely
yeah.
going to weigh in.
That's
one
very
of the things
fair.
I love about Brattleboro.
Right, yeah.
We have an incredibly engaged populace, and it's one of the things that makes going to those Tuesday meetings really enjoyable for me. So, but I would say we're going to provide that opportunity, and that starts with just
Right.
having the meetings and having them properly warned and make sure people know when we're going to be
Right.
discussing this,
Yeah.
so that they can make their voices heard.
Okay. So moving on. Sorry, we've got some ghosts in the building here.
Yeah.
So this was one of the interesting statistics that I saw that I pulled out, and it had to do with response time and comparison for the agencies involved in the study, which was including the Brattleboro Fire Department, Rescue Inc., and Golden Cross. This to me was saying on the response time average of 6 minutes, 13 seconds for the Brattleboro Fire Department. Rescue was 11 minutes, 3 seconds, and Golden Cross was 7 minutes. Now, is that, do you know the details and how that gets broken down? Because it seems like a 4 minute gap between Golden Cross and Rescue it's a pretty sizable gap. I don't know who wants to field that one.
So
Ian's looking at you.
Are you looking at me? I want to be super clear.
Yeah.
I have gone through the report, but I haven't, I can't quote it chapter and verse.
Right.
I saw that chart as well, and the sort of statistics behind it, exactly how it was calculated, I can't say that I'm familiar with. What I can say is Rich Buchanan was quite clear that this is not
definitive.
I mean, this doesn't say you should go this way as opposed to that way.
Right.
One of the things I think is easily forgotten is, prior to June 30th, the town wasn't, quote, just with rescue, right? There was an EMS service which was partially Rescue Inc. and partially provided by the Brattleboro Fire Department. And so,
right.
Depending upon where anything happened, potentially the fire department was there first, or potentially rescue was there first. But rescue also is a regional service, and they've got concerns beyond the boundaries of Brattleboro.
Right.
I think it's nice to be able to say, I think we've got our fire stations situated, I think, about right. We can be in response very, very quickly.
Right.
And so, I think in this instance, it appears to be the facts speak for themselves, but I don't think they support just one conclusion. No,
I think as I was looking at this, and one of the things that I was reading into this is it just because from the majority of where the calls go, which was something I didn't really, and I don't know that that's a way you can quantify EMS services. Was rescue just 4 minutes further down the road? Was their response time the same?
Well, I think one of the things that we know we have available to us is additional follow-up questions to be answered by AP Triton. And I think that this chart has, I've gotten quite a few questions about this chart.
Sure, yeah.
Can you just say the page number for the report?
The page number is on 45.
So page 45 of the report.
Now, I will have to say this. This was the one thing that confused me. So if you pull this thing up in a PDF reader on your computer, the page difference that it gives you is, if you look at the contents, we'll say page 95, but you literally have to scroll to page 100 on your thing. So just don't get frustrated if you're not finding it. Just kind of keep scrolling through. It's just a point of order.
Fancy.
Yeah, right.
You practicing?
Yes, I am. I'm working on it.
So I just wanted to just finish that. So, I think that that's one of the things that just in the last 2 days, I know I'm going to be following up with AP Triton, is just to, have them kind of give us a more thorough explanation for how they came up with each of those numbers on the chart on page 40.
Yeah. And I think if you guys can put a little, just ask them kind of an executive summary. And I get that 2 pages is probably a little unfair, but I think for more consumable information, to get the word out as to what's going on here, I think that would help the people of Brattleboro make the decision. Also, I should point out that this study just covers Brattleboro, because I don't think it's not going to cover Dummerston. It's not going to cover Guilford. It's not going to cover Hinsdale. This is just Brattleboro. And I think that got a little confused too, because I think, we view these communities, these outer communities of Brattleboro as Brattleboro sometimes. I mean, we even share the same zip code, I think, with Guilford. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that's just an important distinction to make, correct?
Yeah, I think that that's an important distinction, and this is a study for Brattleboro.
Okay. All right. There's been I was glad to see the on this chart of EMS service demands and what they got called for, which was a lot of them are medical. From stabbings to crash damage to all of this. So there is a lot of very intoxication, convulsions, abdominal crash injuries. So these are all right now what's being taken over by Golden Cross, and
BFD.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough, right? So these are so when they roll out, I know that one of the things that happened we all know that this whole Golden Cross rescue thing escalated very quickly, which probably created a lot of public whiplash. So how do you feel, personal opinion, and you can, there it is again, and you can choose to not answer this, or but do you feel when Golden Cross shows up that there's a difference in the service that's being provided? As far as like the attention that they're getting, do you feel
I guess that so my answer to that question would be I've got to base it on the data and the information that's provided to me as one of the members of the Brattleboro Selectboard, because I'm not on every call, and I'm not on any call, and I thankfully myself and my family haven't had to utilize an ambulance service this year, but the data tells us that it is the same, and that we're providing a great service for the town. So, based on that. I guess my answer. I think that is more than fair, and I think the answer, of course, is just I guess I already knew the answer. Okay,
all right. I think and I have said this, like, when these people show up to your house, you're not having a good day.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you care what the side of the truck says. Mm-hmm. I think that you just want people to come in. You want them to be compassionate. You want them to be competent, and you want them to not hold on to you forever. You want them to get you to, medical experts as quickly as possible. And I think this study shows that has been happening. And no matter what path the town goes, it will continue to happen.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's a really fair assessment, and I would just reiterate that point, that basically based on this feasibility study, any option we take is going to provide that level of care that this community expects, and so that means that we've got to look at other things when it comes to making a decision, because all of those options are going to be able to achieve that. So,
Patrick, when does the current Golden Cross contract end?
June 30th.
June 30th.
Yep.
And you got an easy one.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Peter. I appreciate that.
You are welcome. Yeah. Now, be careful now, because the next question is: so when will you start the process for either going back into negotiations, deciding whether you're going to open this up to public opinion, getting the constituency of Brattleboro, the citizenship of Brattleboro to weigh in? When will that start?
Well, I think
it's ongoing.
I think the communication with the citizenry it happens every first and third Tuesday, and actually through the budget season, it happens every Tuesday.
Right.
So that is ongoing. Town staff and our coordination with Golden Cross, that's also regular and ongoing. And so I think where I see the situation at this moment in time is that we are likely going to need a contract with Golden Cross for next year. And I know that they're ready and willing to work with us again, because, it just doesn't seem to me that a decision of this magnitude and with the complexity involved with, EMS services, that this is going to be a one and done, hey, let's get together and, carve out an hour and let's decide what we're going to do.
Right.
That isn't how this is going to work. So we're going to need to really fully digest what's going on in this report. We're going to need to have some conversations with the public. We're going to need to have some conversations with the fire department, with the union, and probably, as Rich Buchanan pointed out, there are a couple of different options for what a fully in-house fire EMS service looks like, but there are others, right? There's options 2, but there's options 2A and 2B and 2C. And so,
Right.
there's probably going to be some modeling going on that we evaluate for a while. And, hey, what do we think about this and what do we think about that? And are we ready to move forward in this direction, or do we want to return to a status that we enjoyed previously? So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but I think there's a lot of work in front of us. And I expect, and I think the board would welcome public input throughout.
Okay, fair enough. Guys, there's a lot to unpack here. This is all available at brattleboro.org if you want to take a look at it and just skip to the good parts like I did for today's interview. I want to thank both guys. Patrick Moreland, our interim town director, soon to be going back to just assistant town director. Thank you for stepping in. I know I joke, I think that you spent as much time as the interim as you have as the assistant. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. It's been great, and working with this board has just been wonderful.
Good. Ian Goodnow, the chair of the select board, thank you for taking all the punches.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
This has been really enjoyable. And I'm looking forward to this process and hearing from the public as we move through it, and we take our time to make sure that we make the right decision for Brattleboro.
Great. And thanks for jumping on Vermontitude.